Are you currently unemployed in Missouri and unsure about how to navigate the process of reporting work and earnings? Stay tuned, because today we're unraveling the essential steps you need to take to ensure compliance and avoid common pitfalls. Welcome to this explainer, where we take complex systems and completely break them down for you. Look, if you're filing for unemployment, the absolute last thing you want is a surprise bill just because of a simple reporting error. So let's get your reporting strategy totally aligned with Missouri law.
Here is our quick survival guide for the agenda today. We are covering Missouri UI basics, defining work and earnings, your weekly reporting process, common mistakes, the cost of misreporting, and finally, resources for extra help. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. Missouri Unemployment Basics. Okay, so to even qualify in the first place, the state looks at what they call your base period. Essentially, this just means they're looking back at your earnings over a specific one-year window before you filed. You have to have earned at least $2,250 from an insured employer during that time. If the math checks out on their end, you pass that first test and establish a claim. Now, if you do pass, your weekly benefit is calculated at about 4% of the average of your two highest-earning quarters. But here's the catch. Missouri has a very strict hard cap, and that number is $320. Whether you previously made $40,000 or $100,000 a year at your old job, $320 is the absolute maximum weekly benefit anyone can get in the state.
And here is another incredibly important hard limit, 20. Missouri has a strict maximum duration of just 20 weeks for regular state unemployment benefits. That's actually a lot less than the 26 weeks you'll see offered by many other states. So the clock is ticking the very moment your claim begins. That makes your weekly compliance and your active job search absolutely critical.
Section 2. Defining work and earnings.
Listen up, because this is the single biggest trap in the entire system. It's called accrual basis reporting. You absolutely have to report your wages for the specific week you physically worked the shift, not the week you get paid. So if you work a 10-hour shift on a Tuesday, you report those earnings for that specific week, even if your employer doesn't actually cut you a check until 2 weeks later. And the term wages covers a pretty massive umbrella. We're talking gross wages before taxes, cash tips, commissions, bonuses, and military drill pay. It even includes vacation, holiday, or severance pay if it's allocated to a specific week. And yes, if you are driving for a rideshare app or picking up shifts on gig platforms like Indeed Flex, those earnings absolutely must be reported the exact week you work them. And just so you know, they will reduce your weekly benefit amount.
Section 3. Your weekly reporting process. Every single week, typically starting on Sunday, you need to execute a simple 4-step routine. First, total up your gross hours and pay for the previous Sunday through Saturday week. Second, hop onto the state portal or use the phone system. Third, you've got to log at least 3 acceptable work search activities for that week, like applying for jobs online or doing an interview. And finally, submit the whole thing within 14 days of the week ending date. If you miss that window, that week's benefits will be denied.
As for where to actually file, your primary hub is the UInteract web interface. It's open basically all week, from Sunday just after midnight right up to Saturday night. If you're in a rush, you can actually use their virtual agent chatbot to file without a full login. And hey, if you prefer the phone or just don't have internet access right now, the automated claim phone line is ready for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Let's walk through a concrete math scenario from the source material, because getting this right literally saves you money. Say you work 12 hours at $8.50 an hour. You multiply those to get $102. You must report exactly $102 in gross earnings for that week. Do not subtract your taxes. Do not wait to see what your net take-home pay is. Always, always report the gross amount. Section 4. Common mistakes and pitfalls. So what trips people up? The most frequent error is that accrual versus cash issue we just talked about, waiting until payday to report wages instead of doing it when the hours were actually worked. Another huge mistake is assuming that a cash side hustle or weekend gig work doesn't really count just because it's not a traditional job. It for sure counts. And finally, a lot of folks just completely forget to report vacation pay, holiday pay, or severance payouts from their former employer.
Section 5. The cost of misreporting. When you misreport your earnings, you trigger something called an overpayment. This happens anytime you receive benefits you weren't legally entitled to. And here's the harsh reality of Missouri law. You have to repay an overpayment even if the mistake was completely unintentional. The Division of Employment Security runs sophisticated cross-matches with new hire data and employer wage reports. So if your numbers don't match what the employer told the state, you'll be audited and you will absolutely have to pay that money back.
Now, what if the state decides your misreporting wasn't just an accident? If they classify it as deliberate fraud, the penalties skyrocket. We're talking about the total cancellation of your benefits, extra monetary fines slapped on top of the overpayment, and aggressive collections like wage garnishments. They can even intercept your state tax refunds and lottery winnings. In the absolute worst-case scenarios, it can lead to prosecution and imprisonment. Honesty is genuinely your best shield here.
Section 6. Resources for extra help.
Okay, let's talk solutions. Start doing this right now. Use a daily earnings worksheet. Every single day you work, jot down the hours and the pay rate so you aren't forced to rely on your memory when Sunday rolls around. Always track that gross amount before taxes. And if you've got a tricky income situation, like unpredictable self-employment revenue or National Guard pay, don't just guess on the form. Be proactive and call the Regional Claim Center for help.
You should also grab the official Information for Workers guide from the state. It's super helpful. Keep in mind, if you make a mistake on your weekly submission, you actually can't change it online. You have to call the regional claim centers. You can dial the Jefferson City office directly at 573-751-9040 or just use their toll-free line at 800-320-2519. Representatives are there Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time. Give them a call. That's exactly what they're there for.
And before we wrap up, I need to read this disclaimer clearly for you. The information provided in this video is intended for general informational purposes only and may not reflect the most current legal standards or regulations. Always consult the official Missouri Department of Labor Resources or seek legal counsel for comprehensive guidance specific to your situation.
All right, we've covered the rules, the math, the portals, and the major pitfalls. So I want to leave you with this question. What system will you use today to track your daily hours and protect your peace of mind? Whether it's a quick note on your phone or a notepad stuck to your fridge, get yourself organized, report everything accurately, and take total control of your reporting process. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and stay focused out there.